Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chris Maloney back with you for another edition of the Throwdown with Chris Maloney, episode number 12, coming to you live from London, Ontario, Canada, 7 o'clock p.m. on May the 1st. Yes, it's got to be May. And I was watching Jimmy Fallon last night. He did a little skit. He did a little song. And he was like, said something like, oh, I just have to say it's got to be May. And my wife laughed and then she went back to sleep. But anyways, yes, it is May 1st. Hard to believe. A lot of things going on this month. Hard to believe it's episode 12. Hard to believe it's like 21 degrees outside right now in London, Ontario. And with that being said, NHL playoffs are taking place right now. And man, a lot of upsets. And one of them was last night. So I'm going to say this. I'll give you a quick rundown and then I'll get into the show. Special guest tonight, Hammerlock Pure Wrestling, the one and only Shawn Bates, the OG of the CWN, so to speak. He'll be on the show just momentarily here to talk about the upcoming shows in May, as well as other shows and just how Hammerlock Pure Wrestling is doing as a whole. But 2024 NHL playoffs, Eastern Conference right now, Panthers defeating the Lightning 4-1. They advance. Bruins lead the Leafs 3-2. I'll get more into that in a moment there. Rangers defeat the Capitals 4-0. Hurricanes defeat the Islanders 4-1. Panthers taking on the Bruins or the Leafs in the next round, and the Rangers taking on the Capitals in round 2. Then we get the NHL playoffs to the Western Conference. Stars tied with the Golden Knights 2-2. Avalanche defeating the Jets 4-1. Canucks lead the Predators 3-2. Oilers lead Kings 3-1. Avalanche versus Stars with the Golden Knights next round. And the Canucks Predators versus the Oilers Kings in round 2. So exciting last night. I was watching the game because NXT wasn't on here in Canada because of the NHL playoffs. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll watch the Leafs Bruins game. So watch the Leafs Bruins game and goes into OT. I look at my wife and there's a show that we watch together. It's called Canada's Got Talent. And it's on PVR. So I say, hey, do you want to watch the singing contest or do you want to watch the playoffs? She goes, the Leafs going to get beat anyway, so it doesn't matter. So turn it to the PVR. We're watching it. And she leaves the room. 10 minutes later, comes back in. She goes, oh, my God, they won. And I was like, what? So I saw the video today. And it was a good goal. Tavares came down. And I forget what the guy's name who scored. But, yeah, 3-2. My stepdad probably shouting at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. A huge Leafs fan. My grandfather was. I'm a Sens fan, so I could care less. But it is NHL hockey. Speaking of hockey, 2024 OHL playoffs. This, I will say, I am a fan of. Western Conference Championship Series. London Knights lead the Saginaw Spirit 2-1. I didn't know this till the other day. London was actually undefeated in the playoffs until the other night, and then they got spanked, I think 6-2 or whatever the heck it was. And then Game 4 is actually, don't change this channel if you're watching, but Game 4 taking place live tonight, 7:05 p.m. Rogers 13, I believe, and Shawn is well aware of that station. We'll get more to that momentarily here, but their games in Saginaw tonight, and I do believe Game 5 will be in London, Friday night Game 5 in London, Ontario, but. That being said, guys, I'm going to change some of these graphics up. I'm going to get rid of this, I'm going to, let's see what I can do here. If I do, it's been a while since I had a guest. It was episode 3, actually, but let me see. Where am I here? If I do, I've got a lot of graphics, by the way, to go through, guys. So, yeah, this is what I'm doing, but I want to do this properly. But guys, I'm going to welcome to the show. I've known him for a long time. Like I said, he is one of the CWN OGs. He is now Hammerlock Pure Wrestling management member as well as a ring announcer. Doing well. Hammerlock Pure Wrestling is doing well. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to say I'm proud of what he's doing, proud of Hammerlock Pure Wrestling and what they're doing, and looking forward to the show this coming Saturday. I'll get more to that momentarily. But guys, one and only Shawn Bates, welcome to the show. Shawn, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, doing good. Hello again, wrestling fans. It is Hammerlock Pure Wrestling.
So I hope I got all that stuff right. So I messaged Shawn today. I said, what's the hashtag for Hammerlock? And he goes, well, what do you mean, phone number? I was like, and we are older, but I was like, no, not phone number at the official hashtag. So I got it. Actually, I went on think it was Bryce Hansen's as well as Vikram's. One of the last couple things that they had posted, and it said Hammerlock Pure Wrestling and hashtag. I was like, you know what? That works because pretty much everything you do, with the exception, I think, of Instagram, and that's because you're limited as far as character goes, but everything I've seen is Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. So anyway, welcome back to the show.
We also do Hammerlock PW.
Yes, Hammerlock PW as well. So interview with Shawn last time was episode number 3. Took in place. I can't even talk. September 20th, 2023. God, like almost 8 months ago. Seems like a long time ago. Obviously, I took a little bit of hiatus as far as the doing that Throwdown goes, but it's still episode 12, so it's about 9 episodes later, so it's not too bad. How are things going with Hammerlock as a whole? First question for you: the Rogers deal. I forget, how long is that in effect?
It's in effect until I guess they say differently. I know we're a little bit behind for commentary to get new episodes up, but we are still got our Hammerlock deal with Rogers. We are actually hoping to do something special on July 27th here in London involving Rogers and a possible live to tape-ish event.
So Shawn says July 27th. They'll put like another 8 or 9 episodes, and maybe have them back when that's the week of, so to speak. We'll have to wait and see. Now, I want to get your thoughts on this because, as you know, and I'm going to mention names because you brought me back into Ontario independent wrestling, going to a show at Fanshawe College featuring the one and only Smash Wrestling. Now, they've gone different booking style as far as some of the talent goes. I want to get your thoughts because I know a lot of fans talk about this, think about this, see it. Your thoughts on the way other promotions book here in Ontario versus the way that you book in Ontario. And if you see what's taking place someplace else, does that play into effect how you're going to book your next show?
No, it does not affect our booking because there are certain people on Smash shows that are not together that are on our show. It may or may not reflect eventually, depending on how the fans potentially are not able to disconnect between the two brands. And if that happens, we'll go with what the fans are saying. But at the same time, we have our stories to tell, and Smash and Sebastian Suave has their stories to tell as well. We are not competition with each other. I totally believe in collaboration over competition. Hence the reason why I help out with Smash Wrestling when I'm not doing stuff for, obviously, Hammerlock. And I do the ring announcing for Western Fair when Smash is here in September.
Yeah, speaking of Western Fair, I have never seen such a look of exhaustion last year on so many different faces at the same time. I'll tell you this, a short story. So Miley, sweetheart of a girl, completely exhausted. My daughter Emma wanted to meet her, but she was banged up, she was bruised, she was tired, and that was the toll. It was like those was it Tony Condello, the death tours as they used to call them, and that's what the Western Fair. The ones back up in Winnipeg were the Edge and Christian, where they used to be talking about going over the ice with Rhino to get to these shows in front of like 5 people and this and that. You guys had a lot more than 5 people, I tell you that. But the exhaustion I saw on those faces is like, oh my God. And then Vikram, of all people, I remember last year he had he had broken thumb or whatever the case may be. And, it is what it is. It's the heart and soul of being a competitor, wanting to make that next level, so to speak, but still enjoying what you're doing. Speaking of enjoying what you're doing, I want to get your thoughts. I had somebody by the name of John send me a picture when I asked. I said, how is this show going tonight? And he sent me a picture. And of course, Brian White, the same thing, showing these pictures as well on social media. And I'm like, okay, I got to ask Shawn, what are your thoughts? How do you think you guys did with the London show?
I think we did really good with our London show. We probably could have gotten a few more people into the building. It was our debut, homecoming of sorts, at the German Canadian Club, and I think everybody enjoyed themselves immensely. There was rave reviews from the fans who were in attendance. a couple of issues, unfortunately, with the ring not being stable to hold all the weight that was going on and the hard hitting. But we persevered and made it through. Everybody, like I said, enjoyed themselves, talent and fans. We'll be back. This is not a one and done thing. And I think we proved that London can have the Lucha guys at Tequila Fest downtown. We can have Greek Town over at Marconi Club, and of course Smash Wrestling at the Music Hall. And London can also have Hammerlock Pure Wrestling.
Yeah, the unique thing, I'll tell you as a wrestling fan, especially here in Ontario, Hammerlock has a different view as far as the indie wrestling scene goes. And the cool thing about what I've seen, and this is going on about 2 years now, as far as the first show I ever went to with Hammerlock, is that you guys have never kind of gone far from the scene. You've always kind of stayed clear, or sorry, gone on the same kind of clear path as far as your booking style goes, your talent, how you guys do things, your fan-friendly, interactive, talent, the way they are, the shows that you guys do, and this and that. That being said, potential other towns or cities, Hammerlock may be debuting in the next year.
Well, we are returning to Tilsonburg. It's been a long while to get a show there. Our last one was April 1st of last year, but we're going to be returning on July 28th. It's been a passion of a couple people in Tilsonburg trying to make it happen, and we finally got all the ducks to stop wandering off, and they're lined up, and we're going to be there at the Tilsonburg Community Center on that day, July 28th. And then a couple other people have reached out to me, and not in a way of stepping on any toes, but Chatham wants us. And so we are looking at doing a Halloween show on October 26th at the Wish Center in Chatham. So that'll be our debut there. And we've had a couple other people reaching out to us. We have to sit down and talk, but we could be heading to a place like Lucan. And who knows where else? Staffordville was looking at us as well.
Yeah, there's a former pro wrestling, indie wrestling, king of the back rake referee that's down there in Chatham. So I hope somehow he's part of it or involved or whatever the case may be. No names mentioned, but I think I know who you were talking about.
We're hoping to have involvement that way. I know he has other involvements with the community center, I believe, and also with the new baseball team that's coming to Chatham. So he might not be totally into the wrestling scene at the moment, but I would hope to have him be a part of it.
Yeah, one hell of a nice guy. He's got twins, and we have a common fascination in the show called Bluey because of our kids. So I'll leave it at that. So we go from Bluey to, I'm not going to get rid of myself and Shawn here, but guys, I'm going to change up the backdrop. If you can see that shot in the back, that is from a show in, guess of all places, Stratford, Ontario, of the one and only young lion, Bryce Hanson, winning the vacant Smash Wrestling Championship. That match was between him and, if my memory serves correct, the endorsement Sebastian Suave. I do forget the date. I can't remember if it was September, October, November, whatever the case. I know it was in August. It was November?
November 4th.
November 4th. So there we go. So that is the young lion Bryce Hanson right there with the championship. Very proud of that moment. If you saw the photo, you can go to cwnonline.ca and check it out. But if you saw the photo, that would be it right there. Now, the last show that you guys had, I was scheduled to come to, but the fact is, because of a lot of different situations, I wasn't able to make it. How was that show in January with the Stratford Fighting Irish?
Stratford Fighting Irish, they are great partners with us. And we had a huge card at the Rotary Center in Stratford. We were scheduled, I think, to have about 300 be there. We squeezed a little bit more in. I heard possibly about 450, and there was a bunch of people even turned away. We had 9 huge matches during that night. Bryce was unfortunately going to be not in the main event, so he came out and said if he's not in the main event, he's starting it. And so we kicked off with a world title match, or the Hammerlock Championship match, against John Atlas. So it was huge. And then we did a battle royal, 15-man Royal Rumble style match, with the last two going to get the Tyson Dukes Cup, and we saw Vikram and Ethan go against each other, with Vikram coming out on top. If you've checked out any shows on Rogers TV, like the guys were going for two, there was a confrontation with Chili and Vikram leading into our April show here in London. But yeah, we are going to do it again with the Fighting Irish. That's going to be June 15th. We didn't want to wait till winter time, but we're going to actually go to Clinton at the East Link Arena, and there's going to be 7 matches scheduled for that.
So yeah, big things coming up for Hammerlock Pure Wrestling there in Stratford, as well as other places. One guy I cannot stand is Vikram Prasher. He is the epitome of a jackass as far as his character goes, and I've told him that, and I've said that on the show, and I'm not afraid to say it to him, and I will probably say it to him on Saturday. But the way he carries around that trophy, the way he presents himself on social media, you cannot stand but not hate that guy. And we get a comment here, and oh, look at who it is. John Siegfried. Hey, guys. And John is one of Shawn's as well as Hammerlock's loyals. So, yeah, John, very nice guy. His daughter, Emma, as well. Very hands-on. His wife as well. Very hands-on as far as Hammerlock Pure Wrestling goes. I'm going to get rid of a couple of these graphics here. And this is why.
As you're doing that, though, as much as Vikram is Vikram, he has been holding that trophy with pride, and he's taken it to Sudbury for Project X. He's taken it, I believe, to St. Catharines, and proudly defended that cup and held it proudly, waving the banner for Hammerlock for us, even though he is Vikram Prasher.
I've seen guys with trophies in pro wrestling, and normally it does not work out in anybody's favor except for the good guy in this case. So Vikram, I can see, and maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. I know it's indie wrestling, but I can see somebody smashing that trophy over his back or his head. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
Lord knows, I hope not.
All right, guys. The main reason to have Shawn on tonight is this here. Things happening in May. So, Shawn, Job Site Brewing Company, May 4th, Stratford, Ontario, 3 days away from this show premiering. And big things happening. 7 p.m. is bell time. From what I understand, this is another one that is sold out. Is that correct?
Yeah, we sell out all the time at Job Site Brewing Company. And we don't really even have to advertise. We just have to say we're coming. And Stratford is there on the doorstep, getting those tickets and selling out the building, and we're going to have another fun evening of wrestling.
So back in November, they have when I was there, good food. The atmosphere is very unique as well. Very tight knit. So man, you gotta be ready to move when you need to move, especially when you got Wade Allen or Colton in the house. But it was a tremendous it was family kind of atmosphere at the same time with kind of that kind of rowdy kind of hockey crowd. You know what I mean? It's like you're going to have a good time. You might be calling each other names, but at the end of the day, you're still going to go for beers together. But yeah, it was a very great atmosphere. Looking forward to going this Saturday as well. And that being said, how many matches we got? Shawn has privileged me with graphics and 5 big matches taking place. No order are these matches in. It's like the way I do CWM Predicts, by the way, and I'm not privy to anything at all. Shawn doesn't tell me anything at all except for, hey, show up if you want to. And I love being a fan, and that's the way it is. It is with regards to Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. If I do interviews, it's a different story. That's just a kind of a favor to Hammerlock Pure Wrestling, and I love to talk. If you can't tell, but when it comes down to it,
I make sure it's included in our Rogers presentation.
I told Shawn at one point, I said, I don't like to be on that side of the curtain. And I don't. If I had to go backstage to do an interview, I get it done. I get out of there. I hate being on that side of the curtain. I love being a fan. But that being said, so if I were to put these matches in order of what I thought they were important, this is the way I would stack it up if I was booking this show. So first match of the night, I would put the Drifters taking on Bricks and Bones, Hammerlock Pure Wrestling Tag Team Championship on the line in this one here. When it comes down to this match here, I partially take a little bit of responsibility for upping this, for these tag team championships kind of existing, not because I said, hey, make them exist, just because I kind of, put the fuel on the fire, so to speak. That being said, I love Bricks and Bones. I love the chemistry of these guys. Wade Allen's a good guy. The other guy there, not too sure about, but the fact is, when it comes down to it, I think it's going to be one hell of a matchup. Sean, what are your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, well, you can take a little bit of credit for the tag team titles coming into existence. You mentioned about being backstage and interviewing, and when these two teams first clashed in, I believe it was August at in St. Thomas, you talked to them both about the potential for tag team titles, and then once again, our great partnership with the Fighting Irish willed those titles to fruition. Unfortunately, when I got them, I presented them to the Fighting Irish faithful at a hockey game. The Drifters ended up stealing them from me, and that was in January after they threatened to take them from me at our January show. They'd already taken out Ethan at the Dorchester show with a garbage can. January also saw a huge street fight between Wade Allen and Brickhouse. Cross got his hand injured. There's been a lot of interaction going on between these two teams. Ethan ended up beating Wade on the 13th here in London. I finally got those titles back. Had to threaten a suspension to the Drifters, but they saw a reason that hand the titles back. And instead of doing a tournament, I want them to prove that they deserve those titles. And since they're in a heated feud with Bricks and Bones, we'll settle it one match. Who's going to get the titles and walk out as the very first Hammerlock Pure Wrestling Tag Team Champions.
And follow it up with the names Bricks and Bones right there. Those are your inaugural champions. In my book, not Books and Looks, not the Drifters, but Bricks and Bones as the inaugural tag team champions. Get to another comment here. Where are we here? So, John Siegfried, like JR says, this one's going to be a slobber knocker. Completely 100% agree. And when Shawn was talking about the ring complications at the last London show, I immediately thought of Wade Allen for whatever reason. I don't know why, though.
That was a Wade Allen and Ethan Duke's match that it started in.
So it wouldn't be the first time Wade Allen has busted open a Hammerlock Pure Wrestling ring. Guys, next match of the night. So prediction-wise for me, Isaiah Prince taking on Vikram Prasher. So there you got the cocky, arrogant Vikram with the trophy there, taking on Isaiah Prince. Not familiar with Isaiah Prince at all. Sean had I asked him before the show had started, where is he, who he's from. Sean, just give the fans a heads up who Isaiah Prince is.
Yeah, well, Isaiah Prince, I met during the Western Fair last September. He came into town, I believe, from Buffalo, and made an impression. We've been trying to find a time to bring him in, and this was the opportunity to do so. Vikram's been running his mouth a lot, flashing that trophy, and with how he ended up getting his victory over Chile on April 13th, yeah, it's about time somebody much bigger than Vikram steps into the ring against him and see if Vikram can put his mouth where he says it should be and stand up or live up to the brags that he puts out there.
You know, the weird thing is about that picture of him, that does not look like he's posing. This does not look like a character. That just looks like he's true to that image right there. And like I said, that's why I call him a cocky, arrogant son of a bitch. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to say I don't know much about Isaiah Prince, but I think with regards to Vikram, the Punjabi prodigy, he's still going by that name, right?
Yes, he is.
Yes, I'm going to say he takes the win in this one there. Next match, women's championship match. It's the one and only Miley. Undefeated, running out of opponents, in my opinion there, Sean. That is from me to you, from fan to, promoter, so to speak, taking on the one and only Vanna Black. Vanna Black, though, getting a lot of exposure nationwide. There's a lot of talk about Vanna Black, you know, who she is, who she can become, just her passion for the wrestling business. This is not the first time they've faced Miley and Vanna Black. So what are your thoughts on this match taking place again? And what are your thoughts on maybe where they're going to be a year from now?
That is a really good question, because I just saw Vanna's list of places she's going to be doing this month. And near the end of the month, she's going to be in like Winnipeg and Fredericton, along with a bunch of stops here in Ontario. First up is our show on Saturday. There has been a little bit of a change in Vanna as well. At our January 20th show, January 20th show in Stratford, she faced Zonder Lee. And she actually showed Zonder a little bit of respect after getting a quick, well, not necessarily quick, but got a roll up on her and scored the victory. And she gave Zonder her props. So who knows? Maybe this is a change in direction and emotion for Vanna. It could be something that helps her maybe one day take that championship. Could end up being this Saturday. As far as Miley goes, she's been going all over the place herself, out east and west throughout Canada. She has been successfully defending that championship since she got it a year ago. And we've been bringing in women from all over Ontario just to face her because we are trying to find competition for her. And who knows, maybe somebody will finally take that title off her. Only time will tell.
I don't know if it's going to happen this year. I don't see it happening. She's just way too powerful with regards to Ontario indie wrestling right now. It's she's a student of the game. Both of these women are. I know when you said with regards to Fredericton and Manitoba and places like that, I know both women at one point went down to Florida to train down there to get some exposure and some experience down there as well.
Yeah, two students of the game with TJ and Natty to do some training. They went with Books and Looks. Jax Williams was there. I believe Bryce and Chili also went on that trip. So it was a good crew from Ontario getting a lot of training from some top talent in TJ and Natalia.
It's going to be one hell of a matchup there, guys. We go from second last match of the night. Now, again, this booking is not booked. This is just my picks right here. So we got KPK, and I mentioned to Shawn about this. I mean, they're just complete heels right there. You can see that. They're blocking my face. And I know some people out there be like, oh, man, it's about damn time. You know what I mean? But Shawn sent me the graphics. I was like, you know what? These look good. I'm gonna do them up. So KPK taking on Michael Grayson, who's on the right-hand side. You got Chili Brown in the middle. Big fan of Chili Brown. And the one and only Mr. Brian White. So, Shawn, thoughts on putting this match together? And can Chili Brown, Michael Grayson, and Brian White coexist? And, I mean, you've got, when I looked at the left-hand side, I've never seen this trio before, KPK. They look like dominant heels. And then the other side, you've got basically Brian White. I mean, can depend on what kind of mood he's in. But Chili Brown always seems happy. Michael Grayson, for the most part, always seems happy. If I were to pick a winner in this, just based on this image, I'd say KPK. But being a fan of Chili Brown as well, I don't know. I'm mixed. I can't predict on this one. I tell you that.
Well, there's been some history brewing with these guys since November at that last show at Jobsite Brewing Company. It started with Ahmed being brought in by Vikram Prasher to go against Michael Grayson since Vikram was not cleared with his broken finger. And since then, more and more people have been added to Vikram's little circle of friends. He started with Ahmed, who's on your right-hand side of KPK, then got joined by Haroon. They took out Books and Looks at the end of the January show. And then just the other week at our April show, Abu ended up joining them and cost Books and Looks a match against KPK. Thankfully, Brian White came to the rescue. And then in our main event, to find out who was the best in London, KPK ended up trying to help Vikram out. All hell broke loose on the floor outside the ring. You had Chili diving over the top rope to take out all three members. Unfortunately, that cost him in the end, and Vikram got the victory. But there's four people pretty much entwined in a little battle between Vikram and his boys, KPK, along with Books and Looks, Chili, and Brian. So a lot of things are going down. You never know what's going to happen. they tore down the house, as I said, at the end of April's match at German Club.
So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the summer and the spring plays out for these guys right here. And I'm reading between the lines as far as how these guys could hook up. But it'll be interesting summer and spring. From there, guys, we go into what I would classify, and there's my face again, as the main event of the night, especially with regards to this here. Again, I'm going to do this if I can find it. Yes, right here. So the background, again, that picture of Bryce Hansen down on his knees, seeing that championship in his hands after beating the endorsement Sebastian Suave there in Stratford back in November of last year. The reason that happened is because the guy on the right-hand side, Mr. Rodney Matthews, had to forfeit that championship due to injury, setting up that championship match in the main event. That is why it all plays out. That is why I classify this as the main event, because the last time these guys were here in kind of a competition with regards to the title, Rodney Matthews had to give it up. Bryce Hansen took it away, so to speak. And now all of a sudden you have both of these guys back at it. Rodney Matthews gets his championship rematch. He gets to basically go back and say, I should have never lost this title, but I did. And Bryce, you're not a real champion. You're basically just a champion who what do they call those champions? The ones the transitional champions. No, the transitional champions. Yes. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Rodney Matthews deserves to be champion again. Bryce Hansen, transitional champion. This is Bryce's, basically his time to prove to the world, Stratford, everybody out there, that he is the real deal, that he is the real young lion. I think there's going to be one hell of a friggin' battle. I can't predict who's going to win in this one. It depends how hungry Rodney Matthews is. But Bryce has carried himself great, but I don't know if he's got what it takes on Saturday night to take the to keep the title, so to speak. See, I'm getting all tongue-tied. I'm excited for the match, but I can't predict who's going to win. But your thoughts on this match finally taking place?
Yeah, it's an interesting situation in October at our Dorchester Fair show. Unfortunately, it's not recorded for people to see. But Rodney did successfully defend against Michael Grayson when we had books versus looks. Bryce had won a number one contendership match against Brian White. It was supposed to culminate in November with their match. And as you said, Rodney got injured. Doctors didn't clear him from an eye injury. He had to forfeit the title. And we had Bryce show a little bit of his true colors and said he really wasn't ever Rodney's friend. They got into a pushing match and didn't thankfully go to blows because Rodney wasn't cleared. But since getting the opportunity to get the vacant title, Bryce has had some really top matches. Sebastian Suave, he's gone against John Atlas. He's going to have this match that should have happened in November itself. I don't know if he's going to be one of those transitional champions. He is stepping up to the plate. A lot more aggressive, but not necessarily cheating either. I'm noticing a little bit of a Nick Bockwinkel sort of style with his way he's carrying that championship with pride. Rodney Matthews, he is the underrated one, as he wants to be called. And so, is he truly underrated? Has he been overlooked? Did people not notice his championship reign for that year that he had after beating Tyson? If it weren't for the eye injury he suffered in Ottawa at C4, would he have still been continuing his title reign? I don't know. On the other side, we also have KPK and Vikram lurking in the background. Hopefully, Rodney can focus on getting that title back and putting on a great match. And it could go either way. All I know is, at this moment, as you said, the fans are going to be the winners of this match.
Yeah, either way, and it's just like you said, it's going to be one hell of a show. 5 big matchups announced for this Saturday night, taking place 7:00 p.m. Jobsite Brewing Company. By the way, good beer there too in Stratford. I'll tell you that much there, and good food as well. And the hospitality, the environment, it's phenomenal. Last time I was there, it was a little bit cold. I guarantee January, if I had gone, it would have been even colder. But I'm looking forward to this Saturday, especially with 20-degree weather. It's gonna be a packed house. And guys, what I said would be the main event for me, anyways. Bryce Hansen versus Rodney Matthews. But once again, guys, we'll go through the matches. The Drifters taking on Bricks and Bones, inaugural tag team championships on the line there. Isaiah Prince taking on Vikram Prasher, Tyson Dukes Cup winner. We've got Miley taking on Vanna Black, championship on the line there. KPK taking on Michael Grayson, Brian White, as well as Chili Brown. And then not necessarily the main event, but for the championship, Bryce Hansen looks to defend against former champion Rodney Matthews. One more piece of business to take care of here is this here, guys. May 25th, St. Thomas, Ontario. Doug Terry Homes, one of the sponsor. What is that on the right-hand side? Rail City Tourism, is that right?
Railway City Tourism. They are proud sponsor as well. Doug Terry definitely been very supportive of our ventures into St. Thomas. They got the Railway Museum there. If you've seen any of our photos or our shows on TV when we've been at the museum, it is something unique. You got railway cars all around us, engine in the background. Just the atmosphere is something you don't get from your local cultural center or Legion. That, yes, we all have to go and perform there, depending on the town that we go to. But if I can find unique places like Jobsite Brewing Company and Railway City or the Elgin County Railway Museum, I want those places because it's a fan experience, along with our talent just are so amazed by it as well. You have graphics for 3 of the matches that are going to happen. One is actually subject to change. I just realized, depending on what does happen in our main event. But we'll also, on May 5th, announce the full card with what the title matches are going to be.
All right, so I'll go through the matches. Yeah, no, actually, no. I'll give my thoughts on this because I want to mention it before I forget. I'll give you guys credit for this. That environment there is the coolest independent environment I've ever been in. I've been to WrestleMania, so I can't give you props for the coolest, but I can give you props for the coolest independent show environment I've ever been in. It's damn cool there in Elgin, Elgin County Railroad Museum. Hard to say, but the environment's phenomenal. The staff is friendly. There is beer. There was food. The people in attendance, the fans were absolutely into everything. You've got the trains in the background. The only downside I've ever had with that place is there's this screw that sticks out of the floor. And when I'm trying to take photos and tripping over this thing, I almost smashed my iPhone last year. So looking forward to the end of the month, but not looking forward to that screw. I'm going to have it out with me and that screw in a match. If Mike Rollins can have a match with The Rock, I'm going to have a match with that screw. I tell you this. So, guys, anyways, match has been announced, as Shawn was saying. Bruiser Battersby taking on the one and only Brian White. Is he still called the Honorable One?
He is the Honorable One, Brian White. This is going to be the 3rd match for them against each other. Brian has asked for this match. He had a downside in 2023, a little bit of a losing streak. It kind of started with his match with Bruiser at Jobsite Brewing Company, where he got a little frustrated and his own son disqualified him. And then at the Railway Museum, the last time we were there, they faced each other and Battersby got the victory there. Brian's losing streak continued, but since the beginning of the year, things have started turning around. And he wants to try and erase some of the blemishes that were causing problems and get over that hump.
Yeah, I'm having flashbacks because I remember that. I was backstage, again, the place I don't like to be, backstage with the Honorable One, and he wasn't happy, and there's video out there to prove it. So, it will be interesting to see what happens at the end of May there in St. Thomas. Next match announced, Ahmed taking on Rodney Matthews. Now, I think this is the one that you said is subject to change.
It is subject to change because Rodney could walk out with the title. Now, with this announced, Ahmed could be in line for a title shot.
That'll be interesting. Whether or not it takes place, it's you know what? I'll tell you this. Last time I saw Rodney Matthews in St. Thomas, he was champion. The first show I saw when you guys had it, I think that was the May show, right? May of last year.
June 2nd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. June 2nd. June 2nd. He was champion. So it'll be interesting to see him return to St. Thomas as champion. Ahmed, I think, was on your November show. I think I got to interact with him a bit. He's a scary looking dude. So if that title's on the line, I'm not sure if Rodney Matthews is going to be able to hold on to it. It might be a quick reign. It might be that transitional champion right there. We'll have to wait and see. But then last match been announced by Shawn. Michael Grayson of tag team with Rodney Matthews. Vikram Prasher is his opponent. Vikram again with that trophy. Vikram, I think, has the potential, and I'm going to say this as a fan, if he starts going roughshod through the roster, he could end up in line for a championship title match himself. It's going to be interesting to see, like I said, an interesting spring or summer for Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. But Shawn, on top of these three matches there, why should fans come out to St. Thomas at the end of the month to support Hammerlock?
Well, like I said before, the environment itself is amazing. You're not going to get the same feel at any other show. Very fan interactiveness. It is going to be hopefully a lovely summer day, an evening happening there. Where else can you get? Because we're going to have Lumberjack Pizza there. You can buy some hot sauce from Big Dog Hot Sauce. You're going to have the talent there to meet and greet and interact with. You got to have the bar and drinks for all ages. What is there not to like? And you get to see trains at the same time. Like, it is sort of your ultimate package. You get history, you get trains, so you can be like a little kid again. And yeah, it's awesome.
I was waiting for you to say that, by the way, with regards to the trains. It's one of those things that should be in a promo video. You know, you guys doing a commercial, and all of a sudden that's the end of the commercial, and trains. You know, but I just want to say this. So thank you very much to Shawn for being on episode number 12 of the Throwdown. Chris Maloney, of course. Big shows coming up in May, and not just that. I've got it here in front of me. Someplace. All right. Upcoming Hammerlock dates. So May the 4th, Stratford, Ontario, this coming Saturday. That is in Stratford, Ontario, sold out at the Jobsite Brewing Company. That is also Star Wars Day. And I recommended to Shawn, I said, make a Star Wars match. And Shawn was like, don't worry, there'll probably somebody shows up in like a Darth Vader mask or whatever the case may be. We go from there to the 25th, St. Thomas Elgin County Railway Museum. That's a show that Shawn was just talking about there. The 15th, Clinton, Ontario. That's with the Stratford Fighting Irish. I think you said they're producing that show. Is that right?
Yeah, they're helping us produce that show. 7 great matches. I can tell you right now that regardless of who the champion is, Mark Wheeler is going to be on hand to challenge for that title. And I've also heard from Carter Mason, who'd like to maybe shut up Vikram Prasher himself. So there's 2 people to look forward to seeing at our Clinton debut with the Stratford Fighting Irish on June 15th.
So you got the Golden Gun, and I don't know if he's still going at it, but he used to be called the King of the North, Carter Mason. But either way, great talent coming in there to Clinton, Ontario on the 15th. 16th back in London, Ontario. That is back-to-back dates, by the way. That's at the London, if I slow down. London Children's Festival, Victoria Park. That is a free show, if I'm correct, right? And 2 shows happening that day?
Yeah, it's 2 free shows that are going to be happening. And we're going to have 3 matches on each card. They're going to be different matches for those times. So you can show up at 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock and not be expecting to see the same thing over and over again. Now, we got people coming in from up north. Zonder Lee is going to be returning to Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. Brickhouse McMcGuire is going to be there. Whether he's champion or not, Bryce Hansen is going to be a part of it. Humble Jack, the Honorable One Brian White, the Drifters, the Backwoods Butcher, Rusty Blackwell, along with his little buddy Tommy, are going to be there. So 6 great matches, and you're going to enjoy it. If you've ever thought about being at one of our shows and not sure about spending out the money, if you've thought about being a sponsor and not totally gotten on board, it's a free show. Come on out and see what Hammerlock Pure Wrestling can do. And we're family friendly for all ages.
It is Victoria Park. It's going to be a busy, busy weekend. It's the one of the starts to the summer, so to speak, as far as Vic Park goes. From there, 27th in London, Ontario, as well. Is that the same venue as before?
Yeah, that will be at the German Canadian Club on the 27th, followed by the 28th, as you're about to say, Tilsonburg.
28th in Tilsonburg, and that's the same venue as well as last time, correct?
Yes, at the Tilsonburg Community Center. We'll be there. And yeah, that's thanks to people like the Optimist Club and the Rotary Club, Boston Pizza, Control Screen, Realm Walkers, and Kelsey's to just get us finally back there after a year plus away.
And then from there, the last show I have on my dates anyway is August 31st, St. Thomas, Ontario, back at the Elgin County Railway Museum at the where you get to see trains. But you know, it's like I said, what do you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 announced dates, 2 shows at Vic Park, so 8 shows in total. You have no, and this is what I love too. I'm going to say this: I get to sit on my ass here in London, Ontario, and not have to travel far to be able to see good wrestling. And it's the way you guys do things in Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. It's a throwback. It's not that same stuff you see everywhere else. It's the golden age of professional wrestling, as you guys like to call it. So that being said, Shawn, the floor is yours. How can people check out Hammerlock Pure Wrestling online? And what has been your greatest takeaway as a fan? Because I know you've been a fan just as long as I have as far as wrestling goes. In doing what you're doing, what kind of gratification do you get out of being part of Hammerlock Pure Wrestling?
Yeah, okay. So interesting question there. To start off with, though, you can get us on our Instagram, Hammerlock PW. We are not as active on X as I'd like to be. We have our Facebook page, which I'm totally interactive with on that. You can send us a message anytime and you almost get an instant reply. You can email us at contact@hammerlockpurewrestling.com, which is also our website, hammerlockpurewrestling.com. You can see us on Rogers TV if you're in London, Strathroy, Tilsonburg, Woodstock, and St. Thomas. If you're in Sarnia, you can see us on your TV. That's supposed to be on Wednesday nights. And then, of course, you can see us anywhere where we're going to be. We just ran down some of the dates we're going to be at. To buy tickets, you can either reserve by emailing us, and they'll be waiting at the door for you, or go to our friends at Front Door Plus, and that's frontdoor.plus, to get your tickets and buy online. Check out our social medias. Find out what the promo code is for the town that you're going for, and there's probably a code to save you $5. So there's a lot of ways of getting in touch with us, and I like the fact that we go to smaller towns so that families can attend and not have to load up the car, spend tons of money on gas and food when we can come to your house instead of you coming to the big town.
And because you're old, and I know you got a birthday coming up, you forgot the question with regards to being a fan and the gratification Hammerlock Pure Wrestling has given you.
Yeah, well, to answer that one, it's given a lot of pride. I hear at times from fans and talent how happy they are to be working for us. If you're a talent, how happy the fans are to be attending our shows. And for me, especially some of the originals of Hammerlock and the crew, I've seen them since they were at the factory training to become talent and live their dream out, and being able to provide an outlet for them to live their dream and have fun at the same time. I love it.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, Shawn, before he became part of Hammerlock Pure Wrestling, was a huge fan of the Tyson Dukes Wrestling Factory, what used to be called, correct? And
Yeah,
so
it was
he's
just blocks away from my house.
a lot of this talent that he's talking about on his shows now are like his kids. It's interesting because he's watched them grow. He's watched them kind of be bigger and better than they were back like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever the case may be. And so it's to me as a fan, it's interesting, but to you, it's even more so because of the fact you've got to see them, like I said, grow as your own kids. So it's pretty cool.
And just if people want to see that as well, I was going to the factory to get content for my own YouTube channel, The Scumbags of Wrestling. And it was also allowing me to get to know these talent and have content for the podcast, which I haven't done for a while. But if you go to our YouTube page for Scumbags of Wrestling, you can find a little series that lasted about 26 episodes. And it's called The Production Line. You're going to see Books and Looks before they became Books and Looks. You're going to see Ethan Dukes before he became the Moondog. You're going to see Brickhouse McGuire before he got big and became the Brickhouse. There's so many of our talent that are there in the early stages. So check out old episodes of The Production Line, and you can see where they came from and where they are today.
Yes, and most importantly, guys, support local independent wrestling. That is the main thing there. So, Shawn, I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much for doing the interview. Again, you can see his socials. I thought I had them up the whole time, but I didn't. So you can see everything kind of scrolling across the screen there. Shawn has verified everything's right, except for Hammerlock PW with regards to Instagram. But it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. It's always fun having you on the show because I forget how much of a fan you are, and then to see you doing what you do, to see what you're going to be doing on Saturday night, it's a different side of you. And I remember the first time you ever did a podcast on your own, and it's kind of like, man, can he do this? And then sure enough, it's exactly what you're talking about, getting out there, getting the exposure, getting to know people, and just doing what you love. One last comment before you go. John, Siegfried, see you both on Saturday. Hey, John, do me a favor. Tell Harvey I'll bring the tissues for him because I know the Leafs are going to get beat out tomorrow or Friday, whenever the heck it is. But I'm looking forward to seeing you too. But yeah, again, guys, because you can't check out Stratford, if you haven't got a ticket, be sure to check out some of those shows. But again, Shawn, thank you very much for being on the show, and I will see you on Saturday.
Always great to be here, and we'll see you Saturday.
All right, very good. This is the one and only Shawn Bates with regards to Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. It's interesting because I didn't expect the interview to go as long as I have, and I'm starting to play up a little bit of an idea. So I might actually, I am. So 52 minutes in, so 7:53 according to my watch. AEW is in Winnipeg, Manitoba tonight. Kenny Omega's coming back. There's a lot of fallout from last week's episode. So, guys, I'm going to do this, and this is the first time I've done this in a while. I'm talking like years. So I'm going to dedicate episode 12 towards Shawn Bates and Hammerlock Pure Wrestling because we went overtime with good regard, and I am looking forward to the show on Saturday as well as the one at the end of the month. So I'm going to dedicate this show, episode number 12, towards Shawn and Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. And then either tomorrow, because I got to talk to my wife about this because I don't want my ass kicked, or Friday, tomorrow or Friday, you will see episode number 13 come out. Because if I were able to show you the list of stuff I wanted to talk about tonight, it didn't happen. And it's good reason for it. Because I had about 5 questions for Shawn, and I said, I'm going to basically wing it. And then basically I did with most of it. And then we started playing up the graphics and getting into the old talk with regards to, the production line, everything else, and knowing how far some of these kids have come. And I'll tell you a short story here. So we're at, I think it was Impact Wrestling last year. And it might have been the Fairgrounds, but I think it was Impact. And anyway, one of the shows, it had to be, it wasn't the Fair. It had to be Impact. It was one of the Impact shows. And we're like sitting there, and I'm outside. I'm like, oh, I wonder if Shawn's going to be here, or I wonder if Shawn's attending, or blah, 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 whatever the case may be. And sure enough, we walk in and Shawn's basically sitting at a table surrounded by all these independent wrestlers, so to speak. Like it's just brothers and sisters talking, you know what I mean? So it was a cool thing to see. But that being said, it's interesting to see the growth of Shawn personally with regards to pro wrestling, as well as I just got a comment here. I will relate to that in a moment. But yeah, it's sidetracked. It's the old age in me. Anyways, like I said, I like to laugh at myself. But when it comes down to Hammerlock Pure Wrestling, guys, check it out. You've got no reason to. It's family-friendly atmosphere. The talent is good. The people on outside, inside of Hammerlock Pure Wrestling are good as well. They bust their ass. I'll say this, to put a show together. And I haven't been part of that aspect of it. I don't want to be part of that aspect of it. But they are very loyal crew. I tell you that much right there. So yeah, I've made a decision. I'm going to dedicate this episode number 12, to Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. I will be back. I've just been notified. Looks like on Friday, with regards to episode number 13. So I'll have some news to talk about there. But I want to say this. I want to say one thing with regards to Hammerlock Pure Wrestling and what's been taking place. If I can find it here, hold on a sec. And I cannot find it. I will have to talk about it on Friday. But yeah, there is lots to talk about coming up on Friday. I have a whole bunch of notes I want to talk about. And from there, it's going to be even more notes because there was breaking news just before I came on the air here tonight. So it's going to be interesting there. But yeah, I'm rambling. So it's time to get off the air. But as always, guys, check me out at Chris Maloney, CWN. On social media, Chris at cwnonline.ca is my email address there. Check out AEW Dynamite tonight. It's 2 hours long in Winnipeg, followed by another hour for Rampage there in Winnipeg. So it's a 3-hour show tonight. It's supposed to be good. You got Jericho, Don Callis, you got Kenny Omega. The fallout from the TK driver, so to speak, is what has happened. But yeah, looking forward to it there. So guys, thank you very much for watching and listening to another edition of not CWN. Throwdown Chris Maloney. I'm all over the place right now, but that is it. I'm getting off the air. Thank you very much for watching and listening, guys. And as always, I will talk to everybody again sometime soon.